Ima tu placa, nemoj se bojiti od sveštenika. Well, once again, thank you all for being here. Thanks to our clergy for being here, and all of you wonderful people who over the years have done so much to support the Serbian Cultural Garden. On this day, September 11th, when we're celebrating so much, and especially the unveiling of the Novak Djokovic bust, let's take a moment out to remember what happened in 2001, 9/11/2001, when we lost so many by the terrorist actions. So let's remember them, and remember the responders who lost their lives and the victims who still carry on. So let's just pause for a few seconds to remember that terrible tragedy and how we're trying to heal from that. Okay, Fala. First of all, Bishop Irene told me last Monday at St. Demetrius Church that while he finally had a free weekend, he was going to make sure he was here today. But bishops have the opportunity to change their mind. But he texted me the next day and said he remembered after he got back looking at his calendar, and his calendar said he was obligated to be at a slava up in Maine. So he extended his apologies for not being here today. He also wanted me, on his behalf, to extend his greetings to all of you. Also, Nikola Lanchar, who heads up the Tesla Society Foundation in Philadelphia, and he was the one who really instigated the idea that we should include Novak Djokovic, not only for his athletic ability, but for his humanitarian efforts, and to put him in our garden, the 12th bust in our garden in the last 14 years. Nikola has worked tirelessly from the time that the artist in Serbia started to mold the bust up until it was actually said to be bronzed. And I kept saying, Nikola, you know, we're only like 4 or 5 weeks away. He says, don't worry, Alex, don't worry. I said, well, I worry because all the other busts took a month to get here. He says, nope. And as it turned out, it was fine because somebody knew somebody else who knew somebody else at the postal. You know how it goes. Sve je veza među Srbi, you know, sve. So one thing led to another, and somehow magically, after the bus was finished within about 4 or 5 days, it ended up in New York, and then it got to Philadelphia, and then Nikola sent it to me, Federal Express, and we actually got it last Monday. And then through the good work of so many people, but really especially Marko Đurđević, who Lex mentioned earlier. Marko, I want to thank you again because Marko had to drive, if you can imagine, last Thursday on the border of West Virginia and Ohio, that's where the Chinese ship the granite, and that's where they're inscribed. So he drove there, and then drove back, and then Friday, between Marko and Slobo Pavlovic and a couple of other workers, they came down here with the bobcats and everything else, and very, very gingerly put that bust in place, exactly where Paul Burek thought we should put the bust. Paul, head of the design committee, we respected your suggestion, so it's right there. And then Marko went to work and put the bust on top of the granite. Incidentally, those granite things aren't cheap. You know, they run $10,000 a piece. But that's another issue. At any rate, certainly it was kind of providence because we didn't have time on short notice to make a new semicircle like we had for Desa Maksimovic, Jovan Ducic, and so many others. But in a way, it worked out best because we already had this circle up there by Tesla and Mileva Mladic. So that was the end of that. That was the solution to that problem. So we were able to put it in there just 2 days ago, and I think it's going to look great there with Tesla and Mileva Mladic. At any rate, our sympathies go out to Nikola because Nikola Lanchar worked so hard on this project, and earlier this week his sister Gordana died of pancreatic cancer. So he's right now tied up with all those preparations because he always thought he was going to die before his sister, prepared all the paperwork for himself to be buried in Serbia, and then she dies before him. Now he had to go through with all the bureaucracy and everything. I talked to him a couple of days ago. He still was looking for one more paper, but with God's help, his sister Gordana will be sent to Serbia for burial. She was connected with Delta Airlines. They're working with Air Serbia to get her back to Belgrade this coming week on Wednesday or Thursday. But Nikola sends his apologies for not being here. Of course, he's in our prayers for the loss of his sister. And later on, he prepared remarks for today, but later on, Father Kosick is going to read his remarks a little bit changed because we divided this whole process between the unveiling and here. But at this time, I'd like to have representatives to stand up from the Serbian embassy in Washington. And Jovana Nedic, nice to have you here. And Radomir Ilic. Radomir Ilic is going to say a few words on an ambassador, on the behalf of the ambassador. Come on, Radomir.
Thank you for inviting us here. This is our first time to be here, and this is really incredible place. So, as representatives of embassy, we have to give credits to all people who've been working for years for this place to look so good. And that's why I'm proud to be here with you today. I will say a few words in general. We Serbs started to settle this wonderful land in the 19th century. We have grown into a large and respected community. The Serbian people have been enriched by another branch of theirs, the Serbian Americans. Serbs here proudly preserve their religion and culture. We Serbs from Serbia and you Serbs from America are bound by the common pearls of our culture, from the holy Nemanjić dynasty to the modern liberators of Serbia. Unfortunately, our country, Serbia, and part of its leadership did not treat Serbian Americans in good way, even for several decades. After a long time, today, with the modest capacities, for now, we want to correct that. And in general, Serbia's relationship with this great country was not at a satisfactory level. This is a good opportunity to inform you about few things. Serbia bought a new embassy building in Washington on 16th Street, near the White House. And also, how it is near, we want to send a strong message to United States of America that we are giving open hand for a friendship. We also plan to establish a new large Serbian cultural center in Washington as home that unites Serbia and Serbian Americans. We are talking about, and we will talk with our church as well, about that huge project we are planning to move very soon. I wish that in the future we have many such events where bonds are found which will connect our wonderful country with you, American Serbs, and with the USA. I convey to you the greetings of our ambassador to the US, Marko Đurić. See you soon at such a magnificent gathering on a new occasion. I hope that we will soon sit down, and we need to agree on this, at the round table of all American Serb organizations where we will discuss the future of Serbia and the future of Serbian community in the United States. Thank you very much.
Radomir, this may be your first time here, but I have to tell you, Ambassador Đurić has been here already. It's always nice to see representatives of the Serbian embassy in Washington with us.